Hello boys and girls, welcome to my channel. I'm GSkill DDR III. For today, what I have here is Project Cars 2. Okay, that was developed by the Slightly Mad Studios. The Slightly Mad Studios, in case you don't know, it were logically the producers behind Project Cars 1. They were also the producers of Need for Speed Shift and Need for Speed Shift 2 and the classic GTR games that were simulators, okay? So this game is still using the same engine as Project Cars 1, which is Madness engine, and for the settings, what you are going to see today is the game running with median settings, 1080p. I decided to raise the textures to high because 2 GB of VRAM is quite enough in order to... 2 GB of VRAM is enough to hold the high textures, and I used post-processing SMAA on Ultra. As for the post-processing effects, I left it on the default, which I think it's pretty much enough for the settings. And this is the results that I got with my first track. It was on Azure Coast Stage 1. I decided to use a thunderstorm on the 13 o'clock with 31 cars, where I start in the last position. So this is pretty much the worst case scenario that you are going to get in the game. Raining, having 31 cars in front of you, and in a very demanding track. And so with the median settings, what I got was an average around the 62 frames per second. The minimum was around 48. If you need to have exclusively 60 frames per second or above, you need to go with the low settings. Although let me remind you that the consoles, what they get, especially the PS4, gets a frame rate between the 40s and the 60s, and in events like this when there is rain. Although in more regular tracks with less cars on the track, like for example 20 cars and sun informant, the frame rate is a little bit better. As you can see, the median settings, the average is now 78 and the 1% low it is 57, while the low settings continues to hold an experience above 60 frames per second. So if you go with the low settings, what you are going to notice, it is pretty much that you are going to get static reflections on the car. You get less grass density, but it's still there. So it's not really a big downgrade in my opinion, but I think the track details and, for example, the lack of reflections on the car, it's quite a big thing, because you lose the reflections on the car, it seems a little bit dull. And the track density on low, it is a little bit strange too, because for example in this track that you are seeing in here, you lose the crowds and you lose many environmental things that are outside the track if you use the track density on low. But although if you really require those 60 frames per second, I'm happy to say that you can have it with the low settings, and despite you lose the reflections and those environmental stuff outside the track, in my opinion the things are pretty great regarding graphics yet, okay? So as you can see, this is the first track that I used to benchmark. It was the ones where the results were a little bit worse. So as you can see, the frame rate counter, the frame rate is a little bit more lower than the results that I had. This is because I'm recording with AMD Radeon Relive. And it's not that AMD Radeon Relive it is demanding, because it's not really that demanding to record with AMD Radeon Relive. But the thing is, even without recording, the CPU is already getting maxed out in this game. So there is no overhead on the CPU to do any more stuff. And so what I'm doing is telling to the CPU, now record, and the CPU is getting 100% of usage, and it's completely, sorry for the word, but the CPU is completely shitting itself in order to play the game already, and now imagine it shitting itself in order to play the game and even record above of it. So that is why the frame counter is getting a little bit worse frame rate than it is already without recording, okay? So this is pretty much the first track. I will show you the second track, which is a little bit less demanding, in order for you to see how the benchmark was like. But like I said, I prefer to use, if you want to see what frame rate did I got, I prefer that you take a better look on the graphics that I did show you, because those show you the real results without recording. And in this overlay, what I'm showing really is the frame rate with the recording, okay? So as you can see, also I'm recording with the game on Windows. This was a problem with AMD Radeon Relive. The recorder didn't want to record with full screen. This sometimes happens to me, so I'm very sorry for the title bar being on the top of the screen. And also I wanted to say another thing. Oh, okay, so this game is very CPU intensive, like I said, so if you have a better CPU with the same graphic card, you are going to get a better frame rate, okay? That's essentially what I wanted to say, okay? So in case you have a much better graphic card than I have in here, but you have the same CPU, probably you are not going to get much better performance, okay? So that's all that I want to talk for now about Project Cars 2. Hope you did enjoy the rest of the video, and I do hope to see you soon. Here it is, the second track, so thank you for watching, and goodbye.
On it, silver flag. This is your final lap.